Some absolute tomfoolery has been taking place involving the Edmonton Oilers this offseason, with the St. Louis Blues sending multiple offer sheets to current Oilers RFAs. Now, if those players do end up leaving Edmonton, then some writers have proposed a blockbuster deal that would involve the two Alberta rivals and could see Rasmus Andersson playing in the blue and orange next season. I know, it's absolutely vile to think about. We're going to get into all of that and more, but first I want to welcome you to Flames Digest. I am Mark Griffith. If you're new around here and you love the Flames, make sure you subscribe so you can stay up to date on all the latest news, updates, reports, and rumors revolving around your Calgary Flames. We would love to welcome you to the Flames Digest family. And I know it's pretty crazy, the proposed trade we're going to get into in this video, but you know what else is crazy? Have you heard that the flavored air category is quickly becoming the leading alternative to vaping and smoking? It's a whole new movement toward better habits, like the good habit of being a Flames fan, led by the sponsor of today's video, Fume. If you haven't heard of flavored air, I can tell you right now that it's not like vaping. If vapor was compared to sticky soda, fume cores are closer to herbal teas. With flavored air, you can satisfy your oral fixation through a passive diffusion system that utilizes no electronics, vapor, or combustion, so you can use it anywhere. Fume is safe to use as they continuously invest in third-party studies to ensure the safety of their products and are backed by doctors in the US. I know most Flames fans are stoked for the opening of Scotia Place in the near future, but another thing you can be stoked about is drawing flavor to your mouth without using nicotine. There's many delicious flavors including cinnamon, spearmint ice, and black licorice, and I recommend trying them all. Fume has served over 300,000 customers, and you can be the next success story. For a limited time, use my code DIGEST to get your free topper. It's the perfect accessory to your Fume device. Slip it onto the mouthpiece for a softer, warmer feel. It's chewable for those who love to fidget, and it's reusable. Head to tryfume.com, that's tryfum.com, and use code DIGEST or scan the QR code on screen to get your free Fume topper when you order your Journey Pack today. No, seriously, you should give Fume a try. And one thing that's a little bit harder to give a try is trade rumors involving the Oilers. But let's get into a trade with the Oilers. Big question mark, of course, here. And I know, yesterday's video said, that Elliotte Friedman is talking about how the Flames probably won't be doing anything more for the rest of the summer. Well, here you go. We got some more nonsense. NHL Trade Talk is the one that this one comes from, so it is by the NHL Trade Talk staff. So multiple writers probably going in on this one, and they're saying, could the Oilers explore a blockbuster Flames trade if Broberg goes? So could the Edmonton Oilers explore a blockbuster Calgary Flames trade idea? Funny how they switch it from trade to trade idea if Philip Broberg goes to St. Louis. Now, obviously, St. Louis, they sent multiple offer sheets towards the Oilers or towards Oilers RFAs and Philip Broberg. And who was the other one? Dylan Holloway, of course, who a lot of Flames fans were saying we should send an offer sheet for him. Didn't end up happening. And now time's ticking for the Oilers. We'll see what they end up deciding to do. But let's dive in. If the Edmonton Oilers choose not to match the offer sheet for Philip Broberg, is there an alternative option in the same price range as Philip Broberg's new deal that could be a better fit in Edmonton during their window to win? That's a question that was broached to Oilers Now host Bob Stouffer, and he had an interesting response. Let's dive in. And I'm sorry, I know it's so much Oilers talk. We'll get to the Flames part. Both Stouffer and Sportsnet insider Elliotte Friedman discussed the recent offer sheets tendered to the Oilers by the St. Louis Blues this week. Stouffer was talking about alternatives during his Tuesday show, and on a pop-up episode of the 32 Thoughts podcast, Friedman detailed everything he was hearing about the situation. Stouffer suggested a potential trade with Calgary for defenseman Rasmus Andersson, but Friedman wasn't entirely sure the Flames would consider such a deal at this time. Stouffer argued that Andersson is currently a better player than Philip Broberg. Well, yeah, obviously. Highlighting his ability to play on the right side and just play the right way, let's be honest. He noted that the Flames have been active in trading away other players, but expressed doubt that Calgary would be eager to help out their provincial rivals. Yes, why would we ever give the Oilers one of our better players and make them better. They almost won the Stanley Cup this past season. So giving them a Rasmus Andersson instead of maybe one of their other defensemen, which we'll get into later in this video, is just nonsense. It's just bonkers to even think of it, to even bring it into fruition. We're not trying to manifest this. I think Conroy's smarter than that, but still, we'll give it a try here. Friedman echoed some of his skepticism, but pointed to a different reason. He mentioned that the Flames have made it clear to their players that no significant moves are expected this summer. After a chaotic season last year, Calgary has preferred a quieter offseason to assess their current roster. So the first way of saying this probably isn't the most probable thing ever is by saying Calgary wouldn't want to make a deal with Edmonton to make them better, but after good old Friedman dropped the F-bomb, has said that the Flames most likely aren't going to be making any more moves this offseason, it also brings another realm of maybe nothing's happening. But if you can remember from yesterday's video, or if you listen to the 32 Thoughts podcast, Elliott said, he said, if the Flames are offered something, a deal that they simply cannot refuse, of course they might jump at it. So without further ado, let's get into the proposal here. I know it's what everyone has been waiting for. And so we'll start with the article here, see what the article has to say. And it says, what kind of trade offer might change the Flames' mind of actually making a deal with the Oilers? Friedman acknowledged that circumstances can always change. If the Oilers were to make an irresistible offer, the Flames might reconsider their desire to remain quiet this summer. Okay, I'm sold here. Rasmus Andersson for Connor McDavid. It's official. It's happening. You heard it here first. One proposal thrown out there by Stouffer was to package Ceci or Kulak with a first and second round pick for Andersson. We're going to dive into it in a second here of what these players, but I'm sorry, if we traded Rasmus Andersson away and Cody Ceci was part of the return, get Conroy out of here. That's all I'm saying. That's a hefty price to pay, well, if you're looking at the picks, not the players, but an ask that would likely be realistic based on the fact that the Flames aren't keen on dealing with Edmonton. I like that this article is staying somewhat realistic, but at the same time, it's interesting. That's what we'll say now. Now let's compare these players that were just name dropped. And of course, we'll start with our boy Rasmus Andersson. These are his stats from last season. So in 78 games, 39 points, a point every other game. It was a more down year for him. I know a lot of people disagree when they hear that being said. And statistically, with the offensive numbers, it really wasn't all that bad. It not the best he's ever done. But it was a down year more in the way that you could tell he didn't want to be here as much. He really let maybe some of those rumors affect him and just the turnover. He was a young star on a team that was doing so well in the Western Conference, won a playoff round and looked like they could be contenders, and then we all know what did end up happening. So it's understandable why it was an off year for vibes more than anything else, but he was a minus 11, which wasn't exactly fantastic, and the numbers just weren't as good as we know they could be. With that being said, this is still not bad at all in terms of statistics, and we know how good he can be if he were on a good team, so his value is high. The fact that he does play that right side, the fact that he's proven in the past how good of a player he can be, we know his value is high. Now let's get into the other names that were dropped here, starting off with the aforementioned Cody Ceci. His offensive numbers actually weren't too bad last season. Now he's 30 years old now, and it's interesting. Look, I don't know if a lot of you guys watching know this, but I would kind of say that the Ottawa Senators are my second team. Feel free to flame me in the comments for that, but I'm very familiar with Cody Ceci and his game. And last year, his stats were pretty good, but that's because he was on a very good team. You put him on a team that's not as good, and oh boy, his game crumbles. Obviously, he's more of a stay-at-home defenseman, defensive guy. That being said, the 25 points are pretty eye-popping there, but I don't know if I would want him. Rasmus Andersson is just too valuable to have Ceci back. Ceci, the first round pick, the second round pick, and then maybe another pick or a prospect. Didn't they just recently acquire Savoie? Maybe go after him as well. I know it'd be a steep price, but like the article said, and like what I'm saying, is that it would have to be an irresistible offer for the Flames to actually take it. Now, a bit of a better option there, right around the exact same age as Brett Kulak. His numbers not as good as Ceci's, but he did have a lot less playing time. I'd be more inclined to maybe go after Kulak just in the stage we are at in our kind of rebuild, retooling, renovation period. So I don't know if I honestly wouldn't be thrilled to have either of them, but to make the cap work, I think Edmonton would have to get rid of one of these guys. But I don't know. Either way, you can let me know if you would want either of these guys. Let's hop back into the article here. So the 28-year-old defenseman, who of course is Andersson, has 2 years remaining on his contract at $4.55 million per season, a team-friendly deal that also needs to be factored in. So the Oilers would be getting 2 years of Andersson, if not more, whereas the Flames, they're getting more stuff for the future, but they're also kind of taking on a cap dump in a way, whether it's CC or Kulak, who obviously they still have some game left. I'm just not too sure if that would be enough. So it's interesting here. And let's wrap up the article with this. This type of trade could force the Flames to rethink their position, but it's not clear the Oilers feel they are this desperate yet. Edmonton still has 5 days to decide if they'll match the offers on Broberg and Holloway or walk away. They can go over the salary cap by 10% during the offseason as long as they get compliant by opening night. So in no way do they need to force a trade right now. They still have the 5 days to decide, and they still have up until opening night of the season to make the cap work. So I don't know. It's interesting, and it's interesting that it's been proposed by multiple people now. This kind of blockbuster involving Rasmus Andersson to the Oilers. I don't know. Please let me know your feelings down below, how you would feel about Raz going to the oil country. I personally would probably vomit in my mouth and then vomit on the floor, and I would be quite upset about it. But we've seen crazier things happen. We've seen crazier trades happen. Let's just ride the wave. Now let's wrap up this video with the comment of the day, as we love to do around here. And this one couldn't have been more perfect for this video. It comes from Glenn here, and Glenn said, Kulak, a first and a second for Andersson. Now, I don't know if Glenn either listened to the show that this originally appeared on, read this article before I did, or is literally just the oracle spitting prophecies and had this good of a trade proposal. But I couldn't not pick this comment because it literally went exactly with the video. It's an interesting proposal. I don't fully know if I would take it, but I'm not the GM of the Flames, so it doesn't matter. I like to know from the rest of you guys, from the good old couch potatoes, no, couch GMs, armchair GMs, as we like to call them. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments about this crazy rumor and trade proposal. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please make sure you try out Fume and have a wonderful rest of your day.